So I've been kind of just letting this tank chill for a little bit. As you can see, it needs cleaned up some. But what I ended up doing for this tank was I had the 60-gallon cube, which I didn't have a lot of videos with, and then I had the 33 long. And the 33 long was looking gorgeous. And I had to do very little work with it ever. I pretty much fed it and added water to it. And it had crystal clear water. It had no algae. The macros were doing amazing. The fish were doing amazing. The corals were exploding. And then the 60 cube was almost the exact opposite. It had a window hitting it, which I didn't know that it would hit, that the light would hit it when I set the tank up. Absolutely full of algae. But I also had a snowflake eel in there, which kind of limited my ability to keep a cleanup crew in there. But I couldn't get the balance right. I'm going to blame the sunlight for that for now. We'll see if I end up being right or not. But I combined the two tanks into this. The eel is not in here, but everything else came in here. There's a couple new additions. I'm kind of just letting it chill and do its thing. I've had to trim out a little bit of macro algae as it's getting right, I guess. That were trying to go. I don't know if they were trying to melt or if they were trying to. What is it? They go asexual or something like that, right? Sorry, don't know all the technicals here, but that tank, it was always murky looking. It always had a ton of algae or a ton of diatoms or something going on the glass, on the sand. And I was really hoping that by combining them, and I knew it was a long shot, I was really hoping that by combining them, I would eliminate some of that, which it did eliminate some of that. The corals are still doing really well. The only exception, and I just learned why today, is I've got an elegance coral that I picked up from a friend here. Didn't know they needed target feedings, but I'll get on that when I feed the anemones. Fish are still doing good. I did just add a fish that I know is going to decimate my macroalgae population. I'm really hoping that some of them maintain and they just continue to grow. But if that fish does do that, I've got a skimmer and I'll hook the skimmer back up. Not quite to the point where I can just let it manage itself like that 33 gallon for sure. But I also don't want to mess with it too much at this point. I want to let it settle. I want it to do its thing. Give it a couple months probably, just doing minor trimmings here and there, doing some water changes here and there, but really just letting it kind of age itself a little bit. The 33 was a much older tank, and that's definitely part of why it was doing so well. I'm hoping that whatever came out of that 33 is going to help age everything else that came out of the 60. So that the tank is doing better. It's pretty clear. I haven't done any water changes on this. You can see, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but you can see that there's some algae growth on the rocks, which is part of why I ended up getting that fish that would clean things up. I probably should have gone with like an emerald crab or something, but I don't know. Got a tang. We'll see. We'll see how the tang does. A little bit of a small tank for a tang. I'll trade it in when it gets to the point that it's not doing so well in here. Definitely going to trim out a bunch of the pulsing xenia. I do love pulsing xenia. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I think it adds a lot of fun to the tank. I like the fish swimming through it. I think it's cool. So I'm definitely going to keep it around, but I'll trim it back some. I'll let some of these other corals come through. They're a little bit more exciting, a little bit prettier. So they're not being choked out anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to give an update on the tanks here because I haven't done that in a long time. I got to squat down into my video here so that I'm even in it. But really my main goal here was to kind of show this tank so everyone could see it. I haven't done an update in quite some time. But here you go.